Hi, the Deering Acting Studio.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mornings with Matt. I'd just like to open up this show and say, Joey, you've really got a hold of those sound effects, bro.
Wow.
You're killing it over there.
Oh, my goodness.
You really do. And I feel like we open the show in a sense of peace, and I appreciate that. I just want to tell you that.
Thank you. Well, it took a lot to get here, to be honest with you. Having a boss such as you, where
such as
where,
you,
such as your jerky self.
No, not jerky, but seriously, like somebody who's always looking to constantly improve. It was one of those things that went under the radar for me. So as somebody who is more, I am very touchy-feely as far as like emotions go. Like, I take pride in my work. So
I was gonna say, I don't think you meant touchy-feely.
No.
I'm very touchy.
I like to touch. I like to feel.
The feelings.
I like to touch and feel and all that good stuff.
No,
but
you're sensitive.
yeah, that was the word I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't find it.
Which is interesting because I was gonna talk about sensitivity today, but I decided not to. So maybe we'll jump into it. But I'm sorry. So
I mean, we could split a topic. You could always split a topic. Yeah, but thank you nonetheless. That's cool.
So should we let everybody know where my little joke is coming from? And it's not a joke. I actually mean it. But
yeah.
So we did a podcast. If you missed it,
You should listen to
a couple days ago. Yeah, it's funny. And Joey and I were bantering back and forth about the sound effects because he missed a cue. And we've talked about this many times. And so we started jabbing back and forth, and we were having fun. We were playing, but then it turned serious. Like, it got to be one of these things where all of a sudden, like, we're really fighting about the sound effects, and we didn't mean to be. And so so we battled through that. And I just wanted to let you know that you are doing a great job, you know, and we forget, and we being you sometimes forget how often I do compliment you because I believe you're doing a great job. I really do. And then when there's corrections, I ideally want you to remember the compliments, but then take the correction as like, hey, I got to get better. Yeah. And then I got to do a better job of not joking if it's not a joke.
For sure.
You know, that I think was my big lesson I took from that.
So I shouldn't have been like, fight. Like,
well,
that.
you were playing the game.
You're like a kid on the playground.
Here's the thing. We were playing a game. That was happening. It was okay that you did that. But we all had something to grow from, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was an all-around interesting podcast to listen to, though.
We talked about Shay was legitimately just stirring her espresso like this. So she was like she's like, I'm out. I'm not going to get in the middle of this thing.
Shay always does that when the boys fight, whether it's you and Brian or me and you or me and Brian. She just goes, boys.
Hey.
and then
boys.
And then she sits back for a minute. But
then we get louder. That's what's interesting.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's an inherent.
Probably
it's just one of those things that's programmed into people.
I think her voice is loud too. So like, she's gone boys, and now we gotta be louder than that. Also, you know.
Somehow I feel like you're in trouble for saying her voice is loud.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right?
I think.
I mean, there's got to be something there that's offensive.
I think it's pretty offensive. To be honest.
All right. Well, don't back down. Don't defend your point, Brian. I'm just saying, there's a chance.
Oh, there's a chance. There's a chance that she listens.
That becomes an offensive thing.
And please don't get off this show and talk about how we hurt your feelings about this, because that wouldn't be cool.
It's okay.
I would never do that.
Don't dwell in it for like a day and a half.
That would never happen. Actually, it's already released. Done.
Was there something to release?
No.
Oh, but you said there was.
Yeah.
How could you release something that didn't need to be released?
I was going for a joke and it didn't hit. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I turned up the wrong dial. Dang it! Just as you said that I had the sound effects under control.
I'm not gonna say that you don't have the sound effects under control. Why would I ever say that
you
right now?
You would never say that. That was a good one.
All right. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about rest, and we might include some sensitivity in there, but that should be its own topic.
Yeah.
Yesterday's Sunday, and it's an important day, actually, for the African-American community. It's called Juneteenth. Have you guys heard of this?
No, I think I saw something just that said Juneteenth on it, but I didn't really look into it.
Yeah, it's an important day, and so
Oh, it was from the NFL. That's why.
it has nothing to do with the NFL. But
No, I'm saying I saw it on the. I was trying to think of where I saw it. I saw it on the NFL page that they were doing some celebration for it for the players.
yeah, so it's a very big day, and actually, what's interesting is we had decided, because my wife had asked me to pray about this. She asked me to pray about Sundays in general. So at first, it became, okay, well, Sundays I'm going to start creating family time there. It's going to happen every Sunday. I'm going to have family time. And then so she asked me to pray additionally about Sunday mornings and to say, hey, I wonder if you think maybe that day should be off for the show. And so I prayed, and I was feeling led to, yeah, you know what? I will do that. And it has nothing to do, because what's interesting is there was a pride thing attached to it before where we had put on this show every day since the day we started, and we never missed a day. And so it was kind of neat. Like, we could go back and go, hey, we're this many days in, never missed. Like, that was kind of fun. And then I realized, okay, besides that little pride thing, what's the point of Sunday morning if it's not doing as much good as maybe it's doing harm? If my family needs me that morning and I need to spend at least one day completely giving over to God, giving over to family, resetting myself. So I prayed about it, and I was feeling led to take the day off. Then I remember I checked in with you guys. I didn't really need to check in with Brian because Brian just wants a day off anytime he can have a day off. So
especially
anytime,
Sunday.
whatever. Yeah.
He's got weird things
I
about
love
Sundays.
Sunday.
well, he's a church guy.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
Brian
true.
loves the church. He's been in and out of the church communities. And so it's an important day for Brian to be attached to the Sunday in particular. And for you, Brian, it's probably about making sure that you're doing the right things on that Sunday.
Yeah.
And not because I think if you're honest with yourself, the reason Joey makes fun of you is because you used to just be Sunday, Sunday without any like meat necessarily behind it.
Sure. Yeah.
And now, if we're making it, Joey's doing some funny. Oh, that's hilarious, bro.
He's barely in the background.
I
just his
appreciate
hand.
you staying out of the camera, but now because it was so awesome, I have to bring attention to it, Joey.
Yeah.
So
He's
Joey,
like Mission Impossible
Joey just
over there.
army crawled behind me in order to grab a new pair of headphones or something. And what were you grabbing?
It was in the back of your shot.
Oh, cool. Oh, so then your hand came in this shot here,
Yeah, but
or in
so
the
I-
2-shot,
in this shot. So I switched it to the 3-shot
so that
and
you
then
wouldn't get
grabbed
caught. Oh, it's so cool.
because it was bothering me.
You should have reached over and switched the view, Brian, and then I would have been like bump 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 bump.
Should have.
Bum, bum,
I'm just
bum,
not as.
bum, 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 bum. Brian, you honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. You feel right now as if you're clamming up.
Clamming up.
Yeah,
just
like
so-
you feel locked right now. To me.
I'm not feeling locked, but I believe you. Yeah.
So we brought some things up, and I feel like all of a sudden you feel uncomfortable about it. Am I wrong? Like about your Sunday and things like that? Like, because right now you're going like you're doing your Brian thing. So I want to help you release right here on air, live on the Mornings with Matt show. We're gonna help Brian release.
Yeah. I don't know. You already brought it up. Why I like Sunday. So we work a ton. So the idea of a Sunday is a huge yes thing to me, and I think it's awesome. But I do serve in the church. I love, like, honestly, one of the hardest parts of quarantine for me has been not going to church, has been not being surrounded by my church community. So I don't know. I maybe just bringing up it jokingly, like I like to just do nothing, maybe. But I don't feel super tense about it. So.
Well, you did get tense, so that's why I'm trying to bring this up to your attention to figure out why. So, you noticed it, right, Joey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's-
so this is not an attack, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Sure,
let's
I'm
let's
not-
breathe. Let's see now we should release. Now there's something to release. Okay,
Let's
cool.
start by taking a deep
Deep
breath.
breath.
Shout out to our spiritual guru, Paul.
So I think here's what's happening, and we can all grow from this potentially. if you're feeling uncomfortable, number one, try to lean into it. Try to figure it out. Instead of trying to figure out why it's not the case, try to figure out why it might be. And then you can figure out why you can grow. And by you just defending it, just going like, yeah, then you don't, then there's no like learning, and then nobody else can learn from the same type of deal, from the same thing. So if you go back to your Sundays and go back to your church stuff, instead of saying why it's so great, why don't you talk about the things you've learned that you weren't doing well, and perhaps that's why it was weird in the past. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because you weren't always healthy with the church. Like, you were a church goer, but it wasn't always a healthy thing or a good thing, weirdly. And the church can be a bad thing, potentially.
Can be, sure.
Yeah. So that I think would be an interesting thing to talk about, because you were made fun of for your Sundays, but I think it's because Sunday wasn't always for the right reason for you.
That might be the case. Yeah. That was a while ago though. So that's probably where it's coming from. So it's been quite a while since that was the case for me, at least in my opinion. As far as like Sundays being that way, I mean,
are you uncomfortable talking about this? Is this something that you don't want to bring up right now? Because if it is, I can actually just move on.
I just don't have an answer for you. So we'd sit here, and if you want to just go back and forth on it, I have no problem going back and forth on it. I don't
sure?
I don't have an answer other than
okay. Well,
I think it's months ago.
So then, instead of, rather than saying, "Oh, it was a long time ago," go back to when it was and talk about it.
Sure.
Like that. That's what I think the thing is.
Yeah. So then, if you're going into Sundays not being a healthy thing, probably back when I was like right at the end of serving in youth ministry, it was because I was making ministry about me more than I was about serving in the church itself. And so then at that point, I had decided to step down from youth ministry because I didn't feel like I was in it for the right reasons and doing it for the right reasons. Not that I wasn't doing good and helping people.
Sure.
I was doing that, but it wasn't working for me. And so then after stepping down from that and being on the outside, it was just sort of a realization that I was putting a lot of stock in that area and less in God himself.
Yes. So thank you. This is exactly what I was hoping to get to, and this was amazing. You can smile, by the way. Put the camera on Brian. We got to see him smiling. Look at that. Hey, so nice. Good. And so now what you can realize, Brian, is you did have pent up something. Like, it was there. Sure. Now you've talked about it. It's been released. And so this is actually what I was hoping to get to. I was hoping you'd get to that spot, because think about this. The first thing you said, I don't believe is accurate, but you just said it because you were tense and you were feeling like, I've got to come up with an answer. They're putting me on the spot. So you said, well, we work a lot. So I think Sunday, like, it's important to just take off, And truthfully, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with just because we work a lot that you just get a day off. Like, I think you counterbalance, because we get a lot of time off during the week too. A lot.
Big facts.
During every day, there are times when we get big chunks of time off. It just depends on the week and what we're doing, right?
Straight up, just gonna be honest here. I probably play at least one game of 2K a day. So
we all know that.
That
little secret is out.
That's the time that we have on our hands here is about one game of 2K at least.
Yeah, there's no doubt we have dead time and time that we waste and all that kind of stuff, right? So my thought is that's not a good excuse for Sunday. It isn't, because that could be any day.
Sure.
So if we go back to the why people had a hard time with it with you in the past, and maybe this is the last time we ever poke fun at it, because now you've mentioned it and it's been released. But this idea of Sunday you were making about you is what you just admitted. And that's why I would have a hard time with it before, because I'm like, if I can push us forward, if I can get us going to the next level, and I can still be with family, like, I should do that thing. I don't want to be selfish, essentially, right? So it took me having to realize that I was being selfish by not taking Sunday off, that I needed to give over to God the entire day. My family needed me. They need me to say, you're important. You're more important to me than anything else in the world, including the business, including the acting school, including everything that you do. We, your family, are more important than that. And that's true. I mean, it is true, 100%, that they are more important. They needed that. And God needs me. Here's what's interesting. God needs me to take Sunday off, no matter what I got going on, in order to put my faith in him that, like, hey, it's going to be fine. Like, you're going to be taken care of. Life's going to be good. Trust me. I got you. You can take this day off. It's my day. It's holy. Give it to me.
Yeah.
And that's the different. It's a different reason to take Sunday off. If I'm giving it to God versus giving it to me,
Yeah.
now I can get behind that 100%. You know, it has nothing to do with me working hard. It has to do with, like, God's demanding it of me. Go ahead, Joey.
I was just gonna say that I got a couple of really good points on that, because it's one of those things where I'm blanking now all of a sudden, but it'll come to me. But basically, with it's something that you tell the interns all the time, and it's something that can be hard about working here, right? Is that there's always something to do.
Right.
Every single day, every hour of the day, there will always be something that needs to be done. And so I imagine as a business owner, I know as an employee, like, there's some days where I look and I'm like, all right, what needs to be done? And this whole list fills in my head, and I'm like, cool, I'm going to take a nap instead, you know? But there's, it's makes it that much cooler because I can sort of empathize with you. I know what it's like. Because I know, even on top of being a dad and a business owner and all that, like, I understand that there's always something to do in our specific business. So that's even more a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's what was cool to me to that, is I'm like, wow, like, he knows that there's even more that could be done every single day, and yet he's still willing to give that over. And let's not lie, like, you do enjoy work, like, you enjoy the grind and
100%.
then going home. But, like, I just think it's cool that you were able to do that. And
well, thank you. And I got to say too, to that degree, Joey, and this goes out to any leader that's out there, you have to realize that like what the kind of impact you can have on other people, because when I'm grinding every day and doing whatever I'm doing, I know that there's this thing inside you that's like, I gotta do what I can to try to keep up, to try to be there. You know, if Matt's there, I want to be there. Like, I want to support him. Like, I know you feel that way, and I appreciate that. I really do. So that means I have even more of a responsibility to demonstrate for you that it's okay, to demonstrate for you that doing it in a healthy way is a good thing. And honestly, if you do it and do it right, you may not need the 2K every day.
yeah.
You know, or at least not in the same way you were getting it before. Like, they could be very calculated and specific.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, let's just stop there for a second. So as a leader, to demonstrate to others, here's how you do it. That's a massive concept. That's something that I've been talking to you about, even with our crew. You know, those are the interns, but we call them the crew because we don't really love the word intern. But yeah, this idea of you demonstrating. Right? Well, I've talked about that 100 times.
Yeah. It's the idea of you teach from your failures.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, if I want you to know how to clean the toilet, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it. And if you complain about doing it for even a half second, I'm gonna do your job for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get mad at it. Everybody would get mad about that. But the truth is, I'll do it. I have no problem doing any job.
Yeah.
So, truth be told, like, every job is sacred to me. It is a sacred experience to clean and to prepare and to be ready for our people to come here and experience what we have to offer. You know, like, what we do to me is so important that I just believe that we have to prepare and be ready and just put ourselves at the top of our game in order to give and to serve and to love people at the highest level.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because, like, I remember very fondly when we first brought on the crew, and they started to clean, I got a little jealous because I had been doing that for so long, and I was like, hey, they're doing what I used to do.
That's my job.
Yeah, and I took a lot of pride in it because you taught me that way, because it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, cleaning's never fun, but it became fun for me. I had my own routine. I knew what I would listen to in my earphones. Like, it would take me about 30 minutes to do the whole studio by the time it was a transition, because I got so used to it. And it was one of those things where when I wasn't responsible for doing that anymore, I missed it a little bit, you know? And it's silly to think like, oh, you miss cleaning the floors in the bathrooms? Well, yeah. Yeah, because it's this thing where when somebody walks in the door and they smell the cleaner and they see the like shine of the floor, you're just like, yeah, I did that.
And you know you had that kind of impact on as many people that walk in the room.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot, and it's
Yeah.
it's something that makes you feel good. To
Yeah.
serve other people, 100% just makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I hope that I continue to demonstrate that to you guys, so that you can demonstrate that to others. So like you're now Joey in this place where, how old are you?
20.
20. So you're 20 years old, and the truth is like you feel like a kid. I know you do. Still,
Yeah.
you got to get over that because you're a grown adult, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there are kids who are 14
Mm-hmm.
who are more mature than you.
For sure.
You know, so you're gonna keep pushing that boundary, because as you do, you'll understand you have crazy, amazing leadership qualities that need to be cultivated, that
Sure.
need to be used for the good, for the glory of God, and to help the studio push out our message.
Yeah.
And so as you lean into that more and more, you're gonna have, crazy impact on the world. And I'm watching you now. You have, because of the crew members who are already back at the studio, they both happen to fall underneath your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So I'm watching you now train Dakota and Truman,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both wonderful human beings that bring their own strengths and weaknesses, and you have to navigate their strengths and weaknesses. You have to highlight their strengths, bring them out, and you have to correct their weaknesses and help them overcome those things.
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that. We talked about it with you grabbing the camera and you doing it in such a way that shows them exactly, hey, this is the way to do it. And I watched you do those things. And then it comes to now it becomes really hard. Like, let's say this. Let's say you've already worked sometimes a 14, 15-hour day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so you're exhausted. But it's the end of a day, and it's time to wrap up the class.
Yeah.
They watch what you do. It doesn't matter how long they've been there.
Yeah.
They watch what you do.
For sure.
And based on whatever you do, that's the way you close up.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe for a couple weeks, they go above and beyond, and they'll do more than you would do. But eventually, they default down to whatever their leader expects of himself or herself.
Yep.
So it's a crazy, nutty responsibility.
Yeah. But it's also cool because it's one of those checks and balances things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you remind yourself of that thing, and that can give you energy when you don't have any.
Yeah.
Like those little cheats and
Totally.
those little things that you can tell yourself and that you see. If you remember to remind yourself, that'll give you energy when you don't have it.
Well,
Yeah.
let's look at like the other day when Dakota was here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he asked you if he could do anything, and of course you're like, well, yeah. Like,
I love it when
it's
people
so
ask
funny.
Matt that
Can I do
question.
anything? Matt, if you keep asking him, he'll have you here forever, for an eternity, because there's always something to do, right?
I actually told Dakota, stop asking me if there's something to do, because I'm going to give you something to do. So please stop asking me that question. Find the thing to do. Dakota, if you're watching and you missed this message, find the thing to do. And this is anybody. So the idea is like, you can be kind or whatever, but if you're ready to go, say that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what I told him. I'm like, if you're done with your day and you're ready to be done, just say that. Just go like, hey, I'm done. I'm ready to go. But if the floor is dirty and it needs a sweep and a mop, don't ask me if there's something I can do. You can see it with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Either do the thing, or just say, hey, like, I'm worn, I'm done, I have early work tomorrow, whatever, I need to go, or I'd like to go, is that okay? You know, boom, do that.
Yeah.
But if you keep asking me if there's something I can do, you're right. I'll just sit there I'll stay there till 2 a.m. Be like,
Right.
Yep, we can do this. Let's do this. Let's rewire the ceiling
Yep.
while we're at it.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's funny too, because it's something that's so non-conventional to most people.
Right.
People aren't used to that, and I think that's part of where it comes from for a lot of people, is like they're not used to getting to control their own schedule and
Yeah, they're
And-
waiting for you to tell them.
Yeah,
"See,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead, go home. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't happen. It's very much a open thing where we all get to kind of choose what our day looks like each day, and that's something to be grateful for, but it's something to be adapted into.
Well, and it's so crazy impossibly hard. It really is to run
Yeah.
your own schedule, because the radical honesty thing that we talk about just being just super honest about everything you're doing.
It's real hard.
It starts with you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I lose respect for anybody, including you guys, on a daily or hourly basis. And then I have full respect of you, by the way, overall. But I don't respect that attitude of like, you know, I had a perfect day. Because it's not true. Like, you can't have a perfect day. It's not possible. There's only one person who ever walked the face of the earth, Jesus Christ, who's ever had a perfect day. Nobody else ever has. So for you to say, like, I gave my all, no, you didn't. You didn't. You could have got up 60 seconds earlier. You could have. So, like, you can be proud of your work, all that stuff, like, totally. But just to say, like, but I did my best. Like, okay, now what? Like, do better. You know, like, that's okay. Like, you can do better. So then instead of saying, but I did my best, you just say, you know what? I did this and this. I thought it's what was right. Here's where I can see I can improve. I'm going to crush it tomorrow. I can't wait to wake up and kill it tomorrow. I'm going, yeah, dude, let's celebrate your wins. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
But the one way is going, I did everything I could. There's nothing else I could do. And I'm going to go, well, that's not true. There is
Yeah.
something else you could have done. So I just don't want you to tell yourself that, because then it's a limited belief and you're not going to grow or get better.
I've
yeah,
had to.
I used to- We're brothers.
Rock, paper, scissors.
You know I'm just gonna win because I always win.
I can't tell what you're putting out.
Yeah, I win. Okay.
Okay.
No, I'll let you go. Go
No,
ahead.
no, it's fine. You already said it. So.
Well, with that with that phrase specifically, you did your best. I know as a high schooler, I used to love that phrase because I would just
But I
mold
did
it.
my best.
Exactly. I would
Brian.
mold it to my benefit in a sense because
Well, of course you did.
That was my
That-
my question that my parents would always ask me was, you get a C or whatever. Well, did you do your best? Yeah.
Yeah, I did my best.
Yeah, the best I could, which was totally not true at all.
Right.
But then I figured out, well, all I have to say is I did my best, and I could get a C. It's totally fine.
A C?
Or whatever.
A
C?
C?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's something 100% you got to be aware of.
Well, and you realize, like, you didn't realize that this was even, like, bred in you. This idea of, did you do your best? Well, I did my best, so that's okay. So then I get away with not doing my best by just saying to myself, I did my best, which is, again, lying to yourself. So you find a way to be radically honest with you. And just even going back to this thing with my wife, like, I had to sit there, and I did. I prayed. I was like, let me be radically honest with myself right now and go, okay, why are you doing this? Let's make sure this is for the greater good. Let's make sure that this is not a selfish thing, that whatever. And I got to the end of it, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm being told all arrows are pointing toward this. And you guys can attest to this. Once I felt like I had prayed and then it was like done and done, it was probably going to happen anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I came to you guys, both of you. Even though, and we joked earlier, I forgot about this part, but I did sort of dismiss Brian because I knew for a fact Brian was going to go, yeah, Sunday's off. Like, I knew that. I knew that. But honestly, now for a better reason than before. But Joey, I came to you, and you paused.
Yeah. Because I mean, same thing you talked about. I had to check myself too.
Which I loved, by the
Yeah.
way. Like, I like that Joey took a second and didn't just say, yep, like, this is the way we're going to go. Because that might come from laziness, like the automatic, like, without a doubt, no question asked, this is the way to go, that absolute statement we talk about. Instead, he goes, I'm not sure about that. And I go, and I don't, honestly, I don't like that because I want the answer right away.
Yeah.
I want to know right away. But I respect it. I respect it. So we just sat and waited. I don't know how long it was, like a day or two.
I think two.
Before
2
I came
days,
back to you
yeah.
and I said, hey, have you thought about this? And then you said,
I said, yeah, I prayed on it, and I think I think that's a good idea. And then you said, great, I'll tell my wife.
so how was our Sunday? How was
Oh
yesterday?
my gosh, it was so great. And it was funny because this sort of turned in a different way, you know, as we talk about with the podcast, where sometimes it'll go to a different thing. But I was gonna say this right at the beginning. It's interesting because the only thing that I missed out on yesterday, and I've missed out on for a while, is church. So like, not going in person, but I haven't like put in the work to pull something virtually up or do any of
And
that.
did you do that yesterday, you're saying?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying I didn't.
Gotcha.
So that's the only thing I missed. And in talking about it this morning, I was like, dang, that's something that like I should take a little more seriously, because I felt that a little bit yesterday. But from what Brian was saying about like how he hasn't fallen off, I was like, well, I have, because I definitely haven't really watched a church since COVID. You know, since we were able to go to the building. And then what does that signify for me is, well, you don't care as much as you say.
That's
or
right.
you don't care much as you think you do. Otherwise, it would be something where you would watch it every week no matter what, you know. So that's just something I look forward to doing next week that I haven't done in a while, and I think it would be really nice, you know, because a lot of people actually prefer the digital church. Some people don't, but at least it's something to bring that positive message and something from a godly but different point of view that you can bring into your week every week is really cool. So I'm excited for that. But as far as yesterday goes, it was really cool. We went to my grandma's, we went swimming, and
Yeah, it was awesome.
I practiced my scene with my mom for about an hour and a half, so that was really fun.
Nice.
And yeah.
Yeah,
that
pretty
that
much.
was our Sunday. It was pretty chill.
Pretty much had the same stuff. I got to practice with my partner as well, and the swimming was just awesome. I mean, that was super cool to like. I mean, it's been a year since been in the pool, and it was just a reminder of how accessible that is. And we talked about now making Sunday a thing to go to grandma's for dinner, which is cool, and spending time with mom and grandma, and it was just really nice getting that family time. And I felt like, cause I had like. From sleep and stuff, the red like in my eye, you know, the same thing we get when it's several days in a row of going, and to have rested, it was gone on Sunday, and I just felt like, yes, just super psyched for the week, like it was just a nice reset, you know.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
So how was your church experience, Brian?
I didn't have one this week actually.
Oh.
Yeah, this week
So let's go into that. Let's go into that. You want to make sure that you're also bringing dark to the light immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a good habit to get into, because I love that Joey talked about that. I was gonna bring it up, by the way, after you said it. I totally agree with you, like the importance. But going back to the leadership thing,
Yeah.
we went to church. I've missed a few times over COVID, but for the most part, I've watched a sermon, sat down with my family, and we've watched something on the TV. And the reason you go to church too, I think it's actually less to do with the church itself, because, you know, churches are imperfect. Any good pastor, any good leader will tell you they are imperfect, therefore their church is imperfect. And if they're doing their job right, they bring attention to those imperfections. That way the congregation will actually respect them. But you go to church, like you actually physically go to be a part of a community and to publicly share your beliefs and be willing to do that and whatnot. And honestly, also to help people too. Like I had to realize that as well, that like I have a purpose to go to church to make sure that I help other people at that church learn and listen and communicate with God in a certain way, and to lead other people in that direction, because churches are really good at helping people come to Christ. Like that's an important thing. So church is important. But going back to this leadership idea, my kids didn't want. We had talked about already. We were going to watch a family movie. Well, they're kids, so they're like, we just want to watch the movie. Like they didn't want to do the church part, you know. And so I had to sit down and tell them how important it is to go to church, and or to, you know, that Sunday was an important day to connect to God and whatnot. And so and they were both on board. But by the end, I actually made it their choice. I made it not their choice, like they were gonna have to do it anyway, but they had to have a good attitude about it. It couldn't just be like they would do it. It had to be like let's do it. And Jack actually got dressed up, even though he stayed home. And Rozzy was like, I'm ready. I want to do church. Like church comes first, you know? And it was really great. And that this idea of going, if it's not important to me, how could I ever
Expect
think
it.
it would be important to them ever in a million years?
Yeah.
And so knowing that like I have this now responsibility beyond me to go next level, and then be willing to talk about it. Like you talking about it, Joey, I think is such a good thing. You bring that up and you're going, okay, so I had this Sunday. Here's all the good things from it. Like what else can I do, and how can I be more honest with myself and dig in? And, you know, and it can be your home church. The idea of the digital too is interesting. Like I actually church hopped this Sunday. I started at a different church that I was curious about and just wanted to see what their message was. And I went about 25 minutes, and then I was like, not loving it. And so I went back to our Scottsdale Bible Church, and I watched the like last 40 minutes of that one, and I just happened to resonate with it more. But the week prior, because of all the stuff that's going on in the world, I watched the Potter's House, which is T.D. Jakes' church, and I watched that. Like his live service, and it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And that man is such a good speaker, but even just what he was talking about was really poignant. But he's such a good speaker that I didn't know he wasn't talking to a full church. I think you catch other pastors nowadays because of COVID, like there was nobody there. So I had no idea he wasn't talking to a full church, but I've seen a lot of his messages before. And so I was used to the big loud amens and like the people cheering and clapping, and there was only like a couple, and I thought to myself, I'm like, that's weird. Like I wonder why everyone's not more excited about what he's saying, because it's really good. And then eventually they showed the church, it was empty. I was like, oh, this guy's so good.
There's like 4 guys in the back.
I got so much to learn from this man when it comes to speaking. So very cool. But anyway, so I wanted to end here with this Juneteenth. I looked it up, and forgive me if I'm getting anything wrong, because I'm going to read this right off of Wikipedia here. But Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, and Celebration Day, is an American holiday celebrated annually on June 19th. It commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Union General Gordon Granger read federal orders in Galveston, Texas, that all previously enslaved people in Texas were free. So to say it's an important day is an understatement. Like, what a big deal. And I can tell you right now that we have not been super vocal because we never get political. It's one of our things. Like, we don't get political around here. We don't talk about politics in any way, shape, or form. We really don't talk about religion in classes in any way, shape, or form. That's going to be like we say this is the only way or the highway. Mm-hmm. But we do talk about social justice, and we do talk about right and wrong. And there is a very specific right here. And Black lives do matter. I'll just say that right now. And we're going to get a little bit more vocal about this because it's so important. And people need to know how firmly we believe in social justice and racial equality. I mean, I have many African-American friends. We've had many African-American students. We have some right now. Like we are an all-inclusive studio of every race and gender. And I mean, we're a very small company, but we've, several of our employees in the past have been African-American. So like, I feel very firmly about this, but it's one of those things where I used to say to myself, hey, I'm not racist, so it's not my fight. I'm not fighting against it. And now I'm realizing like, that's not enough. Just to say I'm not racist is not enough. I realize now that I have to have a voice. I have to speak up in this issue, and I have to tell people like, okay, not only am I not racist, but I'm sorry, and these things are wrong. And I really paid attention this time. I've been doing research. I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough yet to really speak heavily into the subject, so I want to keep studying. But I know for a fact that I'm angry. I watched the video. And the videos, I mean, they keep coming out, and I get angry, but part of my anger, and this is going to come up in a future episode when we talk about this and only this, but part of my anger comes to myself because I'm angry that I wasn't angrier sooner.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to hold myself accountable to, and I want to shout out, all of the young people out there that are peacefully protesting and making a difference. Some of our students who have been very loud about this. I think it's an important thing, and I'm proud of you, and I'm happy and I'm excited that hopefully change is coming, and that we, among our small community here, can make a big impact, because that's what we're trying to do in this world, is make a big impact. And so if we within our community here gather together, hold arms, and just say together, like, yes, we do not stand for racism, period. Like that's an important thing. So anyway, long story short here, I know I just got on a tangent there, but long story short, I prayed. My wife asked me to pray. I asked you guys to pray. And we got to the fact that we're not going to do shows on Sundays anymore. And then on my way in today, I realized today's June 15th. Yesterday was June 14th, Juneteenth, the important day. And we didn't have a show. And I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
And people might think, oh, he didn't have a show for that reason. It turns out it wasn't. But had I thought about it, I would have not had a show for that reason.
Yeah.
So now I'm excited. It's like the very first Sunday off commemorates a very important day in the African American history and community, and so I just wanted to end the show there and just say, we love everybody. We are very inclusive, but we absolutely support and love our African American community. Black Lives Matter. Deering Acting Studio 100% supports that message. Thank you all for watching. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.